They say every old friend carries 1,000 stories. Some funny, some unbelievable, some painful, and some that still teach us something today. The Old Boys' Tales is more than just a conversation. It's a gathering of friends reflecting on life, lessons, culture, family, mistakes, victories, and the moments that shaped us. Before social media, before smartphones, before life moved so fast, there were real conversations, real friends, and real experiences. This podcast is about preserving those stories, not just for us, but for the generations coming behind us. A little laughter, a little wisdom, a little truth, and plenty of memories. Because sometimes the best way forward is hearing the stories from those who've already walked the road. Welcome to the Old Boys' Tales.
In that text that you put on the old boys chat about meeting Richard Henry at Jimmy Pierre house.
Yeah, Earl, I don't know what I think about. I just thought about, then I realized, I said, oh, okay, I know how I got to this thing. Jimmy and I were schoolmates, roommates, and all in law school. And so
you talking about Jimmy Jr.
Small Pierre, yeah. So we got to be very close. And so when we got back to Liberia, then I got to know the old man. Yeah. So I used to go, and I don't know, I just developed this thing for talking to the older boys. Just something about it, so I used to go to see him at his house. He had offered their own curiosity. He had an office downstairs on the ground floor, then the other the street. I used to go there from time to time, Christmas, and go there, I would carry him gift and stuff, I didn't want to know league of favors that, but he used to be sitting there, doing his things like that. So one day I thought about it, I said, where I get this old man? So I brought him the office desk lamp, you put it in front of him, you put it in, and come on. And he liked it. And I used to go to see him.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I used to go there all the time. Christmas, I would go see him. I would take Sunday with me. We'd go to sit down, see him. We'd sit down, we'd talk and this and that. Sometimes Jimmy would come over, Jimmy and Agnes. Then he had a brother, his wife's brother, was Isaac Watts. They used to call him Uncle Isaac. So
I remember Isaac.
All right, so I started calling him Uncle Isaac too. So one Christmas, I went there and I carried him, the old man, the lamp. And I said, oh, what, you don't bring that in for me, too? What you got? What now? I said, well, where you going for Christmas? He said, Boone's Farm. You know what Boone's Farm was? Remember? he said, Boone's Farm. I said, oh. I said, okay. But that cheap wine, I said, okay. He said, Boone's Farm. But, that's that over. So Pierre and I, we used to sit down with dog. So one Saturday, I went there. It wasn't too long after that, Richard Henry came. Now, Richard Henry, he said, he used to, his right hand, his left hand, he used to wrap his white handkerchief on it like, hey, what's this? Like somebody keep on. No,
you probably got calls coming in.
Yeah, he used to wrap his handkerchief like this, on your hand like this. All right, a white handkerchief.
Right.
And what I figured he used to have, I think they said, Jimmy Small Pierre, he said, what, Vicks something, that's what Vicks, Vicks drop. What do you call that thing, man?
The vapor, I know the thing. It was before, Vapac. It was before Temple Heavy Essential Bomb came out.
Yeah. So when he came in, Prime Minister, then when he came out there, I got up to leave. Yeah, sit down, man. Jimmy Pierce said, he said, that's clock, that's AV clock. Sit down. I sat down. I said, damn, my first time being this man. I had seen him once before, proximity, but never talked. So he sat there and we were talking this, man. But I realized I was not supposed to be there. He didn't come to me. So you can get your ass out and go.
Right.
So, but I wanted to, So I said, Speaker, I said, you know something you did long time. Never forgot it. I was very impressed. I like it so much. He said, what was that? You know, you had a, what was that? I told him, I said, you made a speech one time at either like Kerry or Rick's. You know, you were talking about the insignificance of the horse and the insignificance of the shoe and did blah, blah. You know, yeah, that was Rick's Institute. I said, I said, I like that speech. You still got it? He said, what do you like about it? I said, the way it rang in my ear the way back. He said, yeah, I got it. I said, you think I can get a copy of it? He said, yeah, sure. I said, oh, good. I said, when you coming back here again? You know, that's how we started. He said, no, you can come by. I will give a copy for you. And I went there, and I didn't ask for the speech. Rather, we sat and we talked. He used to like to, listen and talk. And so we were talking about different things. And he said, oh, but there you are. He turned around and got it, give it to me. I was looking for 3 sheets of paper. He gave me the booklet. I said, oh, shit. I looked at it. I said, oh, Speaker? I said, thank you. I said, oh, this is Christmas for me. Thank you. And I shook your hand. Somebody said, well, you got this over here.
Now, that compilation was from 1935 to 71.
He got all kinds of speeches in there. All kinds. He even talked with my grandfather, R.J.P. Watson, who was then superintendent of Kipma. My old man always used to say, he said, the government used to be broke. He said, my old man, he said, my people have money. He said, my grandfather have money. They used to lend the government money back. You know what that means? I tell you, And then in that book that Henry gave me, a speech he gave in there, he talks about the money people who used to loan money to the government to help government meet its payroll.
Individuals,
yes,
not citizens.
Yes. My old man said, he told me, he said, my grandfather used to be there. Why? He said, about that man. He said, the man had money. He sent his son to school in England. And he came back, he brought him one white woman. He said, but more than that, he had a horse. He used to ride his horse. And he used to dip the cigar in perfume. He put him up, he'd be walking. Yes. He said he said dip the perfume, the cigar in, and ride horse around and put be smelly. If you ride around for too long and they think the perfume disappear for the thing, you would take a thing from his pocket, take that cigar in, dip that thing in again, and smoking and do that. He said he brought a white woman with him. I said, yeah. He said, yeah.
Now, remind me if I'm wrong.
Okay.
My recall of Jimmy P. at that house, it was an old wooden structure. And I remember them building a house around that house.
Correct.
I remember them.
That was it.
I remember it was fascinating to me as a kid.
When we were in law school,
to go there and see.
I used to joke Jimmy P. I say in the morning before you get ready to go to school, I say, hey, come here. I move my slipper, put the slipper on the side, put my bucket, put it on the side. People come through.
They actually built an outside, built the structure of the house on the outside and connected it to and I said,
you're right. They built, they never moved out. And right next to him.
No, they never left their house.
No, they stayed right in the house. And right next to him was Jacob Brown.
Was it this? Yeah.
You remember big fella Jacob Brown? He was right next to him.
Yeah.
That was but another person who built a house like that too, Maggie Shee. Never left the house.
Oh, Maggie Shee house was like that too. They built around it.
Yeah, all the fellas, all frame
connected
houses. So they all live in a house like that.
Right.
I used to joke to him. I said,
that's interesting.
The old man says, yeah, come, get the bucket, put the bucket on the side, put come in the water.
Now back to how did this book survive? Because this is what intrigued me. You lost a hell of a lot of historical data.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
What you meant was, where was this book that it survived this loss that you experienced recently?
Oh, after the war and all of that stuff, I had left Horace and Horace. And I had moved on Ashland Street. Leroy Francis was a good friend of mine. I knew him when I was with Finley. So when I left Horace and Horace, I went to him. I said, I'm looking for office. I want a place, an office space. He said, you leaving? I said, no. I said, I'm looking for office space. I want, I said, give me the office space. I'll do all your legal work for you. He said, okay, fine, good. He said, what place you want? I said, I play on Ashmore Street. So he gave me that place on Ashmore Street, right next to, you know, they used to be across the street. They used to have a studio on Ashmore Street where you go into what Chestnut Place. When you come from the mansion, you cross Macklin Street.
Right.
You're going up to what?
Yeah, right.
Okay, there was I know it was an Englishman or Switzerman. They had a photo studio right across from, and then next to that studio was Chestnut House.
Right, going up towards
yeah, Chestnut had that great house up there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, but right before you get there, that's where that's where I was. And so that's where I had an office space there. And so when I left Liberia, but before I left Liberia, we had put a steel door there. We had right and all that. So we put a steel door at that place there. And that's where it was when I left all this thing there. And when the thing was over, Eric went back to the office. He went to collect some books, and stuff from there. Among the books he got, my grandfather did I'm showing you. I don't know if you can see this. Well, my grandfather gave this book to my mom. You see anything on it there?
I can see some writing in it. Oh, yeah. Okay. So that's from your grandfather to your mother.
Yeah. He was a lawyer. You see that? 1937.
Yeah.
First Liberian code with 2 volumes. So Eric found it and he brought it to me. You see? So these are a few books, and I said, oh, that's what I go. I said, bring what you can from the next. Among the other books, what I had was this book here by Tuan Red. You ever saw this before?
Yeah, I got a copy of it.
Right. So he found, and so I was so, man, I was lucky. And then every time he would go do small, little by little, and so some of these, or like all my law books and stuff, I got all back. So that's how I ever get some of those books back.
Yeah, but back to the question. You just lost a couple of months ago. Somebody broke into the house and stole a lot of your documents.
The things that were stolen, those are the things, that had put on thumb drive. So that's what he took. I had a look.
Oh, those are what they stole. The thumb drive stuff, not the physical stuff.
No, not the physical stuff. The thumb drive is. And then the CD, and I put some of this to download it on us, that kind of stuff. But the rest of the stuff, yeah.
Oh, so you have. Forgive my voice. Yeah, sometimes in the morning I sound like I've been eating sandpaper.
That's okay. I can hear you clear.
Okay, I was under the impression that this guy had stolen the physical pictures and books and stuff.
No, the physical.
Right, the thumb drive.
Oh, no. Those. Luckily for me, he didn't come down here. You can see down here. You see down here. He didn't come down here.
Right.
He didn't come. Right. He just up in the bedroom, and in the living room and stuff. So,
right.
My little sandwich bag. When I work in the evening, I took my stuff, put it in this big black bag, and put it to the head of the bed. He took that whole thing. He didn't know what he took. He didn't know what he took.
You just grabbed it. Just grab it. And they did. You did say that they caught him.
They caught the sucker, yeah. And he said that the judge told him, he said, you know what you doing? Yeah. The judge told him, said, well, look, all right, I would sentence you to 1 year and 8 months in prison, 9 months of house arrest with police. What do you call it? The anklets. And then 9 months of probation. While you're in jail, if you can clear your head and you can think about what you did with this man's stuff, you come back to me and let me know. And that was when I was in England.
Really?
Yeah, and nothing happened.
Right.
Nothing.
Yeah, what hit me real hard was when you talk about the loss, and I was thinking, it's not just our generation that's losing some of the things that we've collected over our lifetime. But the historical one, like the one that really, really, I think hurts me is after the coup when J. Rudolph Graham's house was burned down.
Oh, man.
I mean, that was when they say
that was a treasure
burning
trove.
a burning a library down, that was it.
I used to,
and
I used to talk with him, try to tell him to write something. He said, "Man, Abby, you know everything I ever owned. Even I had stuff from my old man and all. Gone." So I told him, I said, "But Sec, so the best thing to do is do the best you can. And then the details of what you can make, you can't make reference to it, but at least leave it with something." He said, "Yeah, that's true." And then he started writing, he sent to the OAU in Ethiopia. He tried to get a copy of his speeches and stuff, some records from there. And therefore, he had something from the UN. And he had started writing. He had started writing something. And then he got sick. And he just, it just went down. And then Doris Graham picked it up. And she called it, she said, it's called Two Together. Two Together. That's the name of the book. But she didn't finish that one either. But now,
go ahead.
Somebody said, I don't know, who was that telling me? I think, was that Grammy? I think it was Grammy who said that he was in touch with the daughters and they did something on it. So Chuchu said, well, you guys used to help Doris Grandma herself, give her material, her pictures, this, all kind of stuff. He said, but why don't you talk to the girl so you can, so you can finish the book for us? I said, no, not a good idea. He said, why not? I said, no, Chuchu, because Liberian people have a funny idea. If I help them finish that book and they publish it, they'll come back, they'll say, that book that he wrote, that old mountain, he just to go. So I said, I don't have anything to do with it. Let them do it on their own.
I've forgotten what year it was, but my niece, Sonia's granddaughter, was in her high school year, was looking for a project to do that would help her get into college, right? And it was about the time when it really hit me that we were losing document. Not only were we physically losing the physical document, the historians were dying out. The statesmen were dying out, right? So I told her, I said, one of the projects you could do is interview Liberians who were over here for them to tell you their story of growing up in Liberia, the whole process of growing up in Liberia, the impact of the coup on them, on their lives, them coming over to the States, and what impact that had and how their outlook was on whether they would stay here or go back to Liberia, right? So I prepared a list for her. It was Lamikawa.
Oh, man.
Lamikawa, Arthur Padmore, goodness, Jeff Bernard.
Yeah.
Right. And talking to Arthur Padmore, Arthur says, look, I'm related to Sherman and Grimes. And for a project like this, that's the person to talk to. That's who you need to talk to. So she did an interview, and I have the interviews, the video recording of these interviews with Lamy, Arthur, and Jeff.
Excellent. Okay.
To get to J. Rudolph, Doris be damn no.
Yeah.
Oh, she was adamant. She didn't want no part of it. She didn't want. Arthur reached out and talked to him about it, and Arthur told me he was kind of hesitant. Whatever Doris said was what he was going to go with, and she put her foot down. No interview whatsoever. A whole library went down with him. Whole library, and a lot of other people, a lot of other statesmen like that too. I'll give you an example. Uncle Dudley Lawrence.
I never talked with that. I saw him, but I never had to reach to him.
When he started declining, at that time computers were just coming out, right? And he wouldn't or didn't want to write. So Joe got him an old Commodore 64 or one of those first computers that came out to try to write. But he could never get the hang of it because at that time, to put a carriage return on a computer, it was not just a key that you press. No, you had to code it in.
And cancel. You can't do that.
Yeah, you got to type code in to put a carriage return. I'm going to tell you enough of that foolishness. No.
Yeah, give me an old type I would do it, but he's okay with that foolishness.
Yeah.
Used to type
So that,
boy.
Oh, I mean, that's two-finger typing. 2 finger.
You know who used to be a hell of a typist?
Yeah.
Jay Rudolph.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, so then the other aspect.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Getting back to Henry's. You know,
right.
Earl, when that man took that book and gave it to me, I was so, I flipped through the thing and I said, what that speech? What they were? That in 160 something. That flipped it, 161 or so. I said, I read it. Instantly, he said, yeah. So what do you like about that speech? I said, the way you were reading the speech, because of the insignificance of the horse, insignificance of this and this. I said, I like that. He said, yeah. He said, well, that's an other speech. Let's go back to Wilford, 1935. So I flipped through. I said, but you kept all these things. He said, yeah. So you got to keep everything you do for history. So then I remember he had gone to the UN and all that kind of stuff, and blah, blah, blah. But more importantly,
right.
I knew that he was around for the David Coleman thing and all the things. So I said to myself, now that you got this book, ask this man, for the thing. And I said, you know what? And I made this shit that you made him take your book back from you. Fuck. I said, because I think that'll make you shit and make you fake. Get my damn book back. But I wanted to, man, I think, because I remember in the Simpson trial, when they had Simpson connected with Madame Kalu.
Right. Madame Kalu case, yes.
And and he was involved. One of the times he went to the court on that stuff. I wasn't here, but I read in the paper. So I wanted to ask him about that. What, and he said, and then I wanted to ask him about the Coleman incident. Because Joe Richard had told me years ago that when the body was lying in BTC, the dogs were there looking for the bodies so and St. Joe Richards, David Coleman's sister was Joe Richards' wife, Etta Coleman. That Joe Richards' sister.
Yeah.
He said he had to go there. He and James Garner went and got the body up. He said, but to get the body up, they had to go to the mansion to Tubman. And when they got there, Richard Henrys, Frank Talbot, Edwin A. Morgan, Tubman, and somebody else. And they went to Biggs, apparently, so we can beg to get the body out of there. And Frank Talbot and Richard Henry said, don't you do it. Don't you do it. Don't you do it. Don't you do it. You know what? Don't let him move. Let the body stay there. So I wanted to ask him about that. But again, I said, you make that man fag, you take his book from you, because I think make you shit.
Well, I got an experience. We come through all of these different things, incidents in Liberia. Sorry. And I keep telling people it's almost like blind people being asked to touch an elephant and describe what they touch. Because we all come away with different experiences and stuff. And I have one that has stuck with me throughout the years. When we moved to Liberia, and my old man built a house on Bushra Island. When we got through with school, St. Patrick's up on the hill that's soon coming from Convent, we would go to the community store that was run by these two Jamaican women. It was called Community Store right on Gurley Street. And they would prepare, we call her Miss Green. She had a little bar next to her grocery store. And the bar was where the men, after work, would come to have their drink. And we would wait there for our father, because Agriculture and Commerce office was right up on Gurley Street, up the road. So he would come down there, have drink with the rest of the boys. We would have eaten, and then we'd drive back to Bushwick Island. Across the bridge. The group that was regular there was my father, Trinity. He was in the Army. I've forgotten his name. Sammy David Carter Sr. Right. A couple of them. And they would regularly drink this snaps. It's this green in this green bottle.
Man, no, put that I do.
It had, right. Oh, yeah. I don't know. There's nothing in that bottle to make it effervesce, to pop the cork, but they used to pop it.
Yeah.
And they would mix it with on the bottle, it had a whole medicinal thing where it tell you, I don't know if any of it was true, but they would sit there and drink this snaps, and then we would go home. The reason this thing impacted me so much, there was also a Swiss guy who had a jewelry shop and watch place on Front Street, right in front of Memarina. Not on the side of Memarina, but in the front side when you're crossing to go Front Street, going up towards the Sheet.
Yeah. Oh, in front of Memarina. Okay. You know, we used to live around that area too, Captain Dennis.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, my Dennis used to live right next to that jewelry shop.
I think I remember that, but yeah.
So my sister always been the top one, right? The smart one. So one day, time to go home, I don't know how we ended up in there with this man, and somebody asked my sister what time it was. And she looked at this, and we're not talking about digital clock, we're talking about clock with a hand and all that kind of stuff. Right. And she called it time. I couldn't tell time worth a crap at that point, right? So they told us, give us another 15 minutes. So we go back to Miss Green, sitting down there. 15 minutes from there, told me, say, well, 15 minutes, go back now, go tell Dada that we're ready to go home. So go back in there, and oh man, Trinity, I think he was a colonel. Trinity said to me, 15 minutes had passed, and I said, yeah. He said, okay, what time is it? I look at the clock, I can't tell. Fuck, I know. I just see the one hand moving. Embarrassed the shit out of my father. But anyway, 2 days afterwards, this man gave me a watch.
The Swiss man. Wow.
He went to that store and bought me a watch. And it took me forever. But the point is, a couple of days afterwards, as we were leaving the community store, Trinity said to my father, can you drop me down at Coleman's house? Remember now, this is Gurley Street. We get out of the place. My father said, yeah, we had a pickup. It wasn't a car. It was a pickup.
Remind me, coming back to that, you're talking about the Coleman house and Trinity.
My father gets in on the driver's side. Sonia slides up next to him. I slide up next to Sonia. When Trinity says, give me a minute. He goes in the back of the community store. And he come back out with what we at that point called Crocus bag. It was a bag that you can put 100 pounds, not 100 pounds, but coffee and cocoa, and it was wrapped.
Right.
And it was a long thing. So he takes it and put it in the back of the pickup. And my father asked him, what's that, a gun? And he said, yeah. And he slides in, and we drive straight down, go down Coleman Hill, make the left turn in front of Coleman House, stop. When Trinity gets out, reach in the back of the pickup, and we leave. At that point, I was having some medical problem. I don't know what the hell it was, but they had decided they had to get me out of there They thought it was some kind of tumor on my brain. So this is right around that time when this thing happened. My father took me to the Tropical Institute. This was after some medical issues up in Bung Mine and all that stuff. But it took me to the Tropical Institute in Germany.
Hamburg.
For Hamburg, Germany. The ambassador there was Joseph Graham. Joseph Graham and his wife, Watts.
Thelma Watts. And Thelma.
And, yeah, right. And I got treatment there. I had to go to England to the same clinic where Tubman died at.
London Clinic.
Montrose. Was that Montrose Clinic?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But when I get out of the hospital, we're staying at the embassy. The embassy is downstairs. The living quarter is upstairs. And I remember Alvin Graham and I one night, all the adults were downstairs, and there were quite a group of Liberians. And Alvin and I came down on the step and were listening. And they were talking about this attempted coup. This is 1955. And they saw us and told us to get our butt back upstairs. But this was just as my father was explaining to Joseph Graham the incident with Trinity. Telling Graham that, yeah, I remember dropping Trinity at David Coleman's house, dropping him in a gun. And Graham said to my father, if that's the case, you need to tell Dudley Lawrence, who was my father's best friend, Jimmy Pierre, that was his other best friend, and Kerry Thomas. Those were the three closest friends. In fact, he told me, you can call any one of your mother friend auntie. The only three people you call uncle are Jimmy Pierre, Dudley Lawrence, and Kerry Thomas.
What's Kerry?
So my father then reached out and told. I think he reached out to Dudley Lawrence first. But that's the story I'm saying, because I remember when we got back home on the ship, as we arrived at the Freeport of Monrovia where they do the launch and you come off, waiting for my father was Jimmy Pierre.
Dudley Lawrence.
And Dudley Lawrence wasn't there. Dudley was still at the embassy, but Kerry Thomas. So Kerry Thomas took me, my mother, Sonia, and drove us to the house. And Jimmy Pierre took my father to the mansion to go see Tubman. And when he came back, he was telling my mother that when he got to the mansion, Tubman had him come into the office, he alone and one security, and say, explain to me what you told us. But on another note, Bob, with all of this talk about loss of documentation and, the real stories being lost because people coming up and, well, like my story, I'm just telling what I experienced. People can believe it or not, but that's what I lived
That's what you lived through.
Make of it what you make, right? But those written documents that people are now creating, right, that are now developing, that could be lost. The other thing that we're going to start looking at is how to save them so that people can look at the original thing and make value judgment on how to go forward. Every time I think about the refinery, I get pissed because they're doing exactly some of the stupidest mistake that we made, and the country is being held back because of it. The country just can't advance. If you don't have energy, you got nothing.
I got an interesting story. I tell you, me and my boss Joe Finley. That's a different story, Earl. Damn it! Oh, but you got broken me.
We got stories, though.
Let me tell you about Joe Finley. Joe Finley. 1980, January. There was a Liberian registered tanker I think the embargo on South Africa like a blip. So you couldn't sell them oil. So this tanker came out of Saudi, all of that place down there. And when it got down near South Africa, like being a registered tanker, when it got there near South Africa, they sold the oil to South Africa in violation of the embargo and kept on trucking, going on past the Cape of Good Hope, all the way past Angola, went past Liberia. There, when they got up there near Senegal, they scuttled the boat and they left. And then the Senegalese people went to the rescue, found them, and brought them on shore. Said, "What happened to the oil?" Oh, they said the oil went down with the ship. They think, said, everyone said, "Man, 90 million gallons or something, I think, on that stuff." And you said, "What happened? You don't even get a teaspoon, man." Nah, come on, man. They grabbed it, acid, locked it up, and then they called Liberia. So when they called Liberia, mind you, now Chesson came in April of '79 after the riot, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now this is now January of 1980. He is sitting as Attorney General, Minister of Justice. So they sent Chesson to the rescue, and Chesson took Tilma Gardner. Yeah, the two of them went down there. When they brought the people, they said, "What happened?" Or they found out they sank the ship, and they blew it up and went down, and they sold it all. Anyway, they traced all that. So when they came to Liberia, Chesson called his crooked buddy who would live across the street from him, Joe Finley. So Joe Finley called me. Joe Finley called me there, and then what Finley very crookedly, the voice that he put on a little falsetto voice. Come right away, come right away, come right away. We got a big case coming up,
Falsetto.
Yeah, so I ran to Finley Hall and they explained this thing to me, this case, and they like, "Jala, I explained to you." So now let's go see Chesson. I said, "Because Chesson gave me out the case." I said, "Okay." We go to see Chesson, explain the same thing to her. Okay. Chesson said, the people are here now, they're in BTC. I'm right about to tell this whole thing over to you. Finley said, "All right, well, they sound like a good kid." Well, he said, I would charge them 2 million. No, he said, I would charge them 1 million. He said, I would charge them 1 million. Chesson said, no, sir. You got to hit them. Boom, boom, boom. You take one, I take two. Swear to God, heaven. I swear to God, heaven. In other words, I'm telling you the thing. He said, no, sir. You got to hit them. Boom, boom, boom. You take one, I'll take two.
I remember there was another case where Charles Clark them. They the one were responsible for that refinery blowing up. And so after the refinery blew up, we had to be importing finished products because we couldn't process. The furnace was gone.
Yeah.
And because of the OAU restriction, there was no product allowed into the country from South Africa, right? This company, Philip Brothers, who won one of the bids, they were represented by Watterson and Whitney Jones. Jones used to be at Public Works.
Oh, yeah. Bill Jones.
Right. But anyway, Bill Jones. So they won the contract for this.
What is it going? Willie Jones.
Willie Jones. Right. They won the contract to supply, it was, 50,000 tons of fuel oil for LEC. And with all the restrictions, got to come on a Liberia registered vessel or something like that, and not out of South Africa. The vessel arrived at the Freeport. I go on board now to inspect the product and authorize the discharge. People collecting the holds. I asked the captain for the bill of lading. Give me the bill of lading. And look at it. It said Maputo, South Africa. That's where the cargo was loaded. I said, you can't be coming from South Africa, because the document that we got from the people who won the bid said that this cargo was loaded in Saudi Arabia. He said, no, I left Saudi Arabia empty. They told me to go to Maputo, South Africa for the fuel oil. I loaded it, and this is where it is. Here's the bill of lading. I'm stuck. At least he running low on fuel oil for the turbine. And I got this South African cargo. Who I reached out to, the only person I knew was Tucker. Tucker, you got to tell us what to do, because we're LEC LRC at that point was run by foreign company. It was run by Loomis. So I said, these guys don't know what to do. If they discharge this thing, they could be in trouble with not only with the Liberian government, with the whole damn OAU. So 3 to 5 days, I remember that cargo just sitting there, incurring bills of $7,000 a day to demurrage. Finally, the government said, to hell with it. Let's take this cargo, because otherwise we're going to be out. So sometimes you gotta bite the bullet and then just
say to hell with the consequences. But back to
interesting time, my brother.
Back to Mr. Henry's. I wanted to. I mean, I was itching. I needed to know some things, man. But I was too afraid that he would. I mean, he could have done anything to me. Could I say, "Get my damn book"? Because he was a big man at that. Could I say, "Lock this bitch," or throw it out of my office, or something like that?
You really didn't want to lose that book,
yeah, man. Because I had a treasure in my hand, man. But I needed to, Anyway, so that opportunity went, it was the only 2 times I ever met him in Pierre office and when I picked up the book. The other time I saw you to see him around town. Really? So now I saw you at the mansion when I was at LDC. After I left finance, I went to LDC. I was the deputy general manager there, so I used to go to the mansion. Later, I used to have his Friday prayer meeting and all kind of things, with the staff, with people get the praying time, all that. So I used to meet him there. And I used to go there.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. Well, that's how I used to have sometimes when he came out, he called it the cabinet people. I go there. He used to pray. Reverend, the man from Broadway, Reverend Flowers, was his praying man, pastor.
I remember Flowers and his daughters. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Julia Flowers and
Julia was a fine girl. You remember, where is she?
Julia is somewhere over here. I probably in touch with her about a year ago. But this one, like I said, I come and edit it and put clips up for the boys to see.
Okay.
Good talking to you, man, AB.
You take care. Stay safe.
Yeah, you do the same, Bob. Let's stay in touch, yeah?
All right. Take care now.
All right. Bye now.